You do it every single day, probably sitting right now. But here's a question you never asked. What did people do before toilet paper? Before toilets? Before any of this? For 300,000 years, humans walked around with dirty butts, and somehow civilization still happened. Welcome to Time Vogue. Let's talk about what nobody talks about. Imagine it's 20,000 years ago. You just finished your business behind a bush. No paper, no leaves nearby, just you, your hand, and a very uncomfortable decision. This was reality. For almost our entire existence as a species, there was no clean way to clean up. And the methods people used, they range from surprisingly clever to absolutely horrifying. Let's start with the obvious: water. If you were near a river, stream, or lake, you rinsed. Simple, effective. But here's the catch: most humans didn't live right next to water, and in winter, that water was freezing. So you either walked a mile with a dirty butt or you got creative. And creative they got. In ancient Rome, public toilets were a social event. Stone benches with holes cut out, side by side, no dividers. You'd sit there, do your business, and chat with your neighbor. But the cleaning part? A sponge on a stick, shared by everyone, dipped in salt water or vinegar between uses. Yes, shared. That sponge went from person to person to person, all day, every day. The Romans were advanced in many ways. Hygiene was not one of them. In ancient Greece, they used stones, flat, smooth stones about the size of your hand. They called them passoi. Archaeologists have found them with distinctive wear patterns. Yes, they can tell. These stones were reused, carried in pouches. Some people had favorite stones. Let that sink in. Your favorite butt rock. Treasured, reused, passed down possibly. But what about places without stones or sponges? What about the frozen tundra, the deep desert? Humans improvised. Moss, grass, leaves, snow, animal fur, feathers, wool, even broken pottery shards. In ancient Japan, flat wooden sticks called chugi were used. In some cultures, corn cobs. In others, seashells. If it was absorbent, scratchy, or just nearby, it got used. The Vikings? They had wool. Sheep's wool was plentiful, absorbent, and warm. But here's the thing: wool wasn't cheap, so you didn't waste it. You used it, rinsed it, reused it. Same piece of wool. For weeks, maybe longer. Your underwear and your toilet paper were essentially the same budget line item. Medieval Europe was a special kind of gross. Castles had garderobes, basically a hole in the wall that dropped your waist into a pit or the moat below. No flush, no water, just gravity. And what did they wipe with? Hay, straw, old rags. If you were rich, maybe linen. If you were poor, whatever was on the floor. And since everyone shared bedrooms, shared chambers, and shared basically everything, privacy was a luxury nobody had. You did your business while someone else slept 10 feet away. But here's where it gets really interesting. The thing we think of as disgusting, ancient humans didn't. Not the way we do. Cleanliness is a modern obsession. For most of history, a little dirt, a little smell, a little residue was just life. You didn't have time to care. You were hunting, gathering, farming, fighting, surviving. A dirty butt was the least of your problems when a wolf might eat you tonight. And yet, some cultures took it very seriously. The ancient Egyptians used salt water and natron, a natural mineral salt. They believed cleanliness was spiritual. The Israelites had detailed laws in the Torah about washing, waste disposal, and camp hygiene. Islamic tradition developed elaborate washing rituals that are still practiced today. The Japanese elevated bath culture to an art form. So it wasn't universal neglect. It was just most people had bigger problems. Now, the real game changer? Paper. China, 6th century. The first known use of paper for toilet purposes. But paper was expensive. It was for writing first. Wiping was a luxury. It wasn't until the 14th century that mass-produced toilet paper became a thing in China, and it took another 500 years to reach the West. In 1857, an American named Joseph Gayety invented the first commercial toilet paper. Medicated, marketed as a health product. People were skeptical. Why pay for paper when you have a perfectly good corn cob at home? It took decades for toilet paper to become normal. Decades for the thing you can't imagine living without. And here's the final twist. The modern bathroom, the flush toilet, the soft double-ply quilted paper you hoarded during the pandemic, this is maybe 100 years old. Your great-grandmother might not have had it. She used an outhouse, or a chamber pot, or a shared privy down the street. The clean, private porcelain throne you sit on right now is a miracle of engineering, economics, and luck. And it took 300,000 years to get here. So the next time you reach for that roll, remember this. For almost all of human history, there was no roll. There was no toilet. There was just you, your creativity, and whatever was within arm's reach. Some people used silk. Some used stones. Some used their hand and a handful of sand. And somehow they survived. They built cities. They wrote poetry. They fell in love. They lived entire lives where a clean butt was a luxury, not a guarantee. The past was messy, literally, but we made it. And now we have wet wipes. Though honestly, the plumbing system hates those. Don't flush them. Subscribe to TimeVoke. New video next week. And remember, the past is never really past. It's just less hygienic.